Hello. So today we're going to do a super simple lasagna recipe. I've been making this for years. A friend of my mom's gave her the recipe long time ago. I've been eating this almost my entire life, actually, to the point that when I finally started eating lasagna, I was a very picky child. So all you need, so this is around a pound of ground beef. I got it in a huger, a bigger pack, so I had to divide it down. So it's around 1 pound ground beef. You need a few pieces of some lasagna, and you can get the kind that's, that's already like cooked and ready to go. They have it in the, Barilla has it in the little strips, and you can just put it down in the casserole dish. I just go ahead and cook mine. So I've got the water ready to, it's already on high, getting ready for it to boil. Then I'll be putting that in. And I only use, I think in mine, I only use 5 pieces of this. So it says a package, but I just need a few pieces. So that's how I do it. And then they tell you to use Hunt's pasta sauce. You can use any kind of sauce if you want to make your own sauce. Of course, it takes longer. I just don't care about that. I just use whatever I have on hand, and I usually do keep this on hand. I did notice when I was up in my prepper cabinet right here that this is my last Hunt. So I got my grocery list out and I put on there I need my Hunt's pasta sauce. I have other spaghetti sauces, so you can pull anything out, whatever you like, pull it out. This happens to be 24 ounces, so it's quite a lot. So I don't know how much a jar usually is, but if you like the jar better, then get the jar kind. But this is the one I get, and Hunt's has a million different types of this. Just pick whichever one. And we're going to use some cottage cheese. This is the large. This is the 24 ounce. This is going to be in a 9 by 13. You can also, if it's just 2 of you or 1 or 2 of you and you're cooking for a small amount of people, you can put it in an 8 by 8 and 2 8 by 8s, and you can freeze it. So, or you can half the, you can half the recipe, however you want to do it. We eat leftovers, and we don't mind eating them. We'll eat on it for however long it's here, as long as it's still safe and good. So we're just going to be eating on this week. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and make the 9 by 13. And then I get this at Aldi. You can get any kind you want. So this is the mozzarella cheese. This is only 6 ounces. I think these usually come in 8 ounces, but because this is a organic one, it's smaller. So it's whatever you want. The 6 is working fine. I used to use the regular, and it was 8. I'm pretty sure it's 8 ounces. So, it's not a big deal. 6 ounces, 8 ounces, bigger, smaller, it doesn't matter. However you want to do it. If you need a package and a half of this to make it better, then get a package and a half. All right. So the water is already starting to boil. I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator just for a minute, because it's going to take me a while to get to this point. Okay, let me turn you around so you can see. So right there's the water boiling, and then here, right here, there, right next to it, I'm going to, now you can do your meat however you want to do it. I said in the last video, I really like using this. I also use my Instant Pot a lot of times, but you can't see me if I'm cooking. The Instant Pot's tall, so you can't see me if I'm sauteing in there. But if you've got an Instant Pot and you want to saute in there, go for it. That's generally how I would be doing it. Go ahead and turn this on. Probably like 325, maybe 350, we'll see. Honestly, I don't remember what I put it on. And I just had this in the freezer. I divided it up and put it in the freezer, so that's what's going on there. While it's in the little bag. Now this is like a meat chopper. You can get these at Dollar Tree. I think they have them. I don't know if they have them at every Dollar Tree, but you can get them at Walmart. You can get them at any, any store that has kitchen stuff. You can get them on Amazon. So you don't have to have this. For 100 years, I just used one of these. I just used a spatula and I just chopped it like that. So you don't need anything fancy, but if you wanted one of these, it is kind of neat and it's helpful to kind of just chop the meat up. Now this is grass-fed beef, and I just prefer grass-fed. It's organic grass-fed. I get it at Sam's. Well, I get it either at Aldi and Sam's. If you get it in a 3-pack, it's just cheaper that way. If I can keep it around $5 a pound, then I'll buy it. So my freezer is full of this beef, and I'm glad it is, because I'm not wanting to pay higher than $5 a pound for it. And of course, Aldi for 1 pound has gone up to 7 a pound, or maybe more than that. Last time I saw it was 7. So I'm not paying 7. If I've got it in my freezer for 5, I'll just eat off of that for now. I'm going to go ahead and throw a little salt into here. I got this is from Dollar Tree, the Himalayan pink salt. You can just use any salt you have. It doesn't have to be special. Pinch of salt. That just keeps, you know, the noodles from sticking, you hope, anyway. And this is my Pyrex 9x12 that I'm going to be using. So it's just regular Pyrex glass dish. That's what I'm going to be putting in the oven. You cook it at 350 for 30 minutes once you get it all in here and put it in the oven. Okay, this is boiling pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put the noodles in now. And I just put them in, like I'll put one here, and then I'll kind of crisscross. I just push it down with something, because it usually takes it a minute to kind of go on down in there. And I think what I do is I use 5 of these, because that'll cover that whole pan. So you definitely don't need an entire box. And what I do is I just tape it back together. I just tape it back together right there, and then I leave this stuff in the refrigerator. I don't have to worry about bugs being in it. Sometimes we have those little bitty brown bugs. So all this kind of stuff I keep in the refrigerator, and that's one reason I have so many refrigerators. This is close to being done. They're just a little bit pink in here, so just a couple more minutes. Ranger just came in here. I think he wants to know, who are you talking to? Huh. Who am I always talking to, Ranger? Yep, so this is looking brown. I think this is good enough. Honestly, I think using this spatula is just as easy as using this thing, but you know, either way, whatever you're comfortable with. Once it really started going to town, it seemed like it was easier to flip it with this. Uh-oh, I just flipped a little piece of pink meat in there. We can't have that. So one thing I like about grass-fed is it crumbles so easily. And I know it's more expensive, but now that the other beef is getting up to, I mean, what is the other beef? Isn't it like $3 $3.50 or $4. So if you can get this for $5, I feel like it's not enough more to even care. Now, obviously, if you're on a tight budget, you would care. So I don't mean that. I know a lot of people are very tight budget. So you have to eat what you have to eat. But I will tell you, since I started eating this grass-fed, I don't want the other kind. It's just real gritty or something. I don't know. I just don't like it. The taste is not the same. The feel is not the same. Texture is different. This is just, I don't know, it just feels better. Okay, so I turned that down just a little, so it's on 9 right now, so we'll see how that goes. This I've turned off. I need to get the grease off of this. Now, I think I decluttered one of my colander type things. Is that what it's called? The thing you drain. So I'm just going to use this to drain that off when it gets ready, and I could also drain my beef in there, but I really don't want to have to wipe it off. So what I end up doing usually, or I don't want to have to wash it. Which probably sounds lazy. I don't know. I like to just use paper towels and drain the fat off that way. And it works for me, but you drain yours the way you normally drain yours. And of course, you got to be careful because the bottom of that is going to be hot. So you got to be real careful when you're getting this fat off. But I just get a couple paper towels and I just kind of do this till I feel comfortable with the fact that it's not greasy anymore. And I will also be putting this into the little plastic bag that's got this stinky meat stuff in it. So this will go in that bag too. And then later, I'll keep this bag sitting here. Then later, I will... Ew. The cats eat canned food and that stuff stinks too. So later in the day, I feed them canned food and then I put their canned food in cans in there. They're canned, I'm sorry, the canned food cans. After I'm finished with them, I put those in the bag too. So that just keeps the stink out of your main trash can. Now, one of my friends, when she makes this grass-fed, she says she thinks it's not as greasy. I actually think it's more greasy, but I don't know. She may be getting a leaner one than I'm getting. I'm not sure. But I get quite a bit of grease off of it, so I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know where she's getting her meat from, but I felt like mine's greasier. But I'm not complaining because it just tastes better to me. It's just to me, it's better quality. Now when I get this drained off here, then I'm just going to simmer, and I just do this quickly. In the instructions it tells you to simmer it longer. I don't spend a lot of time simmering it because I'm going to be putting this in the oven for 30 minutes, so I don't see any reason to simmer the spaghetti sauce for 15 minutes or whatever it says, because you're just going to keep cooking this meat, you know, if you keep doing that. Plus it gets kind of hot in here in this pot. So I basically just dump it on, warm it up, and then I'm ready to put it into my casserole dish at that point. And it's going to be the bottom layer. The meat plus the sauce, that's going to be the bottom layer. I feel like this is probably finished. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. So you would just need to do this as long as it takes you to get the grease off that you want. I'll be honest, I'm not totally picky about it as long as, you know, the most amount of the grease that's sitting down there is off. I'm not that worried about it, so there's going to be a little bit of grease left on here, but you do it the way you want to do it. I don't think a little bit of grass-fed beef grease is going to hurt me, just being honest. You know, one of the things that I made the mistake for years, I listened to the conventional medicine types and they told you not to eat any fat. So for years and years I didn't eat any fat. Now I've gone the other way. Now I eat fat. So this has a little grease on it. I'm okay with it. If you're doing low fat though, then you need to do it your way. Okay. Okay, I just threw all that in that trash can. Now I'm going to go ahead and open this can. And again, an opener because this is how I do things. So again, we're just using the Hunt's traditional. This is just the Hunt's traditional. There are many flavors. You can also, if you're a vegetable person, I'm not a huge vegetable person. Now that I've said this, I can't get into it. I have to get my other one out. Oh, here it goes. There it goes. I always use this. Also, just if you're not a prepper, you need to know if there's ever an emergency, you need one of these somewhere in your house because your electricity may not be working. If you don't have a generator, or if you don't feel like dealing with your generator, we have a generator we've never even really used. We know it's working, but we've never actually had to hook it up and use it. Then I just pour this on. So, you know, if you're hungry, your electricity's out, you're going to need one of these. So I highly recommend getting something like this. This is just a cheap one from Walmart. I liked the color. What can I say? Now I'm just going to get this out of here. This is a, I don't know if they still sell these. It's a OXO Good Grips. I don't know if you see that. My mom gave me this. This is good for getting the last of the mayonnaise out of the jar. It's good for getting the peanut butter out of the jar. Anything you're trying to get out of the jar or the can, it's really good for that. I've used it a lot. She bought this for me years ago and I really like it. Now I'm going to turn this on and I'm just going to simmer it for a short time. I'll just go ahead and use this to push this around. Just kind of cover the meat and then simmer it. Alright, so can't really see what I'm doing because that thing's right up next to the wall. Let's see, does it say simmer? It says warm. On mine it just says warm. And so it'll start bubbling. Even on warm, it'll start bubbling up. So I also put this can, because this will also be stinky, I put that in that little bag too. To see, all this stuff goes in the bag, then it doesn't go in my trash, my main trash. So then that I only have to change out every once in a while. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drain the water off of these noodles into this thing. Obviously this is very small. I used to have a larger one. I believe I decluttered it. I'm not sure. Sometimes decluttering has a fail, but this usually works for me. I like the smaller one. I don't know. Yeah, see, I can already hear this bubbling. So once it starts bubbling, I just go ahead and turn it off because I don't see any reason you know, to just simmer all this juice off, because then I'm gonna put this into the oven, like I said, for 30 minutes. So I don't really see a reason to do that, but you do it however you want. I want to say the recipe, I want to say it said 15 minutes, but let me see. I've never done it that way. Let me just look here. Yeah, add spaghetti sauce, cook for 15 minutes on simmer. So I've never done that in my life. I just turn it off. Did I turn it off already? No. Turn it off, and I just let it sit there till I'm ready. Now, I got to go over to the sink with this, so you're going to miss that part, but I'm just dumping this into that colander thing, whatever that thing is. Okay, so I'm back with the pot. Here it is. I don't know if you can see, it kind of blends in. There it is in the colander. It's still draining some water off. Now, little sip of water. Now I use my tongs. This is very slippery, but that's how I do it, is I use the tongs to get it in here. But the first thing I need to do is get the casserole dish over here. Plug this. And I'm just going to go ahead and dump this in here. Just like that. Ooh, it's fogging up my glasses. Now, there's still some in here. Let me see if I can kind of... We don't want to waste any of that good sauce. It looks like it's not meat, it's just sauce. Let me just get it down here. Now, I will say mine, a lot of times the first night is runny. So it may be that you do need to simmer it longer than I do. I guess I'm a lazy cook. I don't know, because I just don't do that. But probably, if you don't want it to be a little bit runny, we actually don't care. But maybe you should simmer it for a few minutes longer than me. But as far as taste goes, there is not going to be a bit of difference, in my opinion. And I'm usually in a hurry, and I don't have all day to wait, if you know what I mean. I happen to be off today, so I have a little bit more time. But, you know, if I'm in a hurry, I don't really have 15 minutes to wait on that. So... it's a little bit runny. We'll live with it. Okay, so I'm just... okay, so that's covering it all now. That looks good. Now, here she goes. Okay, so this gets a little tricky because this is so slippery. And it's hot, obviously. If you can wait till it cools off, it's a little bit simpler. Again, I'm usually in a hurry and I'm not waiting. So I just lay these down across here, and you could probably just use 4, but I just layer a little bit over and I go ahead and use 5. I think that broke, it's shorter. Oh, it's hot, it's hot. Probably I could have run some cold water over it. That would have cooled it off. Okay, that's fine. It plopped into the, usually I have to move it, but it's plopped right into the right place, so I'm just going to not mess with it at all. I'm just going to leave it where it is. Oh my. I didn't mean to drop it. Really have to mess with this one. Okay, yeah, you could do this with 4. I can't remember if I used 4 or 5, so I think last time I used 5. All right. Since I have 5, I'm going to move this over just a little. It doesn't really matter. But just to be a little bit more uniform, I guess. That's a little piece of meat that might as well go back in there. Okay. Now I'm going to get the cottage cheese back out. I'm going to go ahead and start this. It's 350. Whoops. Wrong button. I've still never learned to use this thing correctly. Okay, 350 is what we're going for. Okay. All right. Not bad. 25 minutes. I'm about done here. Maybe I won't have to edit out quite as much as I edited. The one I just did was crazy. I had to edit out a lot. Okay, so then you just spoon this in, and this doesn't have to be perfect either. You just kind of want to cover these noodles up. And for some reason, the noodles seem like they're shorter than usual. I don't know if, is this like a new thing? We make shorter noodles in our boxes. Maybe I'm just crazy. So probably what I'll do is go ahead and put some up against this. It'll be on top of the meat instead of the noodles. But anyway, however, that's fine. I just kind of spread it around. Again, this is the 24-ounce one. You need the larger one when you're doing this. You don't want the little tiny one. Unless you're not a big, cheese fan, then you might be able to skate by with a smaller one, but I would just get the larger one. And I know some people don't like cottage cheese. I actually don't eat cottage cheese ever, except in this recipe. I'm not a cottage cheese person, but I know some people like ricotta. You can put vegetables in this. You can put ricotta, cheese, whatever kind of cheese that you like. You don't have to do it exactly like this. I'm just showing you. I was listening to somebody talking about they they pulled one of those freezer lasagnas out that they were going to have a party, and they were going to, and I thought, oh, and y'all are going to think I'm weird, but that kind of grossed me out. I was like, why? When you can do this very simple, you see this is only taking me 30 minutes. It is going to take it 30 minutes to cook, but when you pull those out of your freezer, you're going to have to cook those too. They probably take 45 or more minutes. So it is going to, you know, cook for 30 minutes, but I've got it put together in 30. That's not bad. Okay, so I've got it pretty much covering the entire thing. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's all going to kind of blend together in that oven anyway. But yeah, I'm not against pulling something like that out of the freezer, but the thing is, you can make this ahead and put this in the freezer if you need to. Pull it out, you know, thaw it some, and then cook it. Okay, and normally we would just go ahead and thaw it completely, so I'm not sure if you pulled it out how long it would take if you didn't thaw it first, so I apologize for not knowing that because I just don't know. I also put this in this bag because all of this stuff is going to stink in my trash, and I just don't want it in there. That may seem weird, but I just put other stuff in my regular trash can. Well, anyway, we have gobs of these bags. I got a client that gives me these bags, and I use them for the cat litter and everything. Now I'm just opening my cheese. Again, this is only 6 ounces, so I do have to spread it a little bit thinner because I do think a regular bag is 8 ounces, so it's not going to be quite as thick. It's going to be 2 ounces short if that is the case. I'm really surprised this is the most noise we've had. Jasper's outside, or he would be all up in my business. Sunshine has gotten this thing where she sleeps under the, I've got the window open for her, but even though it's hot, but she sleeps under the chair for some reason. I thought maybe she was sicker than I thought, but you know, if you saw my vet update, she just went to the vet and her numbers were, I mean, they're not perfect, but they definitely were not anything horrible. This also goes in this little bag here, so I just throw that in that bag too. So, you know, you can just, if it's not as perfect as you want, you can just spread it out the way you want it. And I don't think the oven is ready yet, but I'm ready to put it in the oven as soon as it is ready. So for our purposes, we're about done here. Oops, I forgot that was hot. I stuck my hand on it. So that's what it's going to look like. It's starting to tip out, so I'm not going to keep doing that. I'm going to put it over here while I'm waiting for this. Thank you so much for joining me today for Sunday Fun Day. Actually, I probably already said this, but this is Monday here. It's my day off. But I'll be posting this on Sunday for you guys. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.